available now on DVD from MVD, as well as most of the streaming services. The streaming services that offer paid rentals is Alexander Monelli's 2020 documentary Marionette Land. This is the story of Robert Brock. Robert Brock runs the Lancaster Marionette Theater. Could have the name of the place wrong. He runs a puppet marionette theater in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And this documentary is just a look at this man's life, his amazing work. He does everything himself. He makes the costumes, he creates the puppets, he is the sole puppeteer. He has people who assist, this film shows you. And his mother, who funds the operation and also lives above the theater in the building with him that houses the theater. But really, Robert Brock he's the man, as they say. He's the guy who does everything. And it's just this. So Al Monelli, close personal friend of mine, Al Monelli, I will get that out there. But I like to think if I didn't like the movie, I'd say, I'm friends with this guy. The movie wasn't so good. Al Monelli also did a documentary called At the Drive-In, which... oh, hi. Features me, about the Mahoning Drive-In Theater, which a lot of people have seen and loved. And Al has done short documentaries for quite a while on his YouTube channel. They're called Lancaster Documentaries. He did one called Video Store Millionaire that's really good. And he has this knack for getting up close and personal with people. And they're words aren't always my strong suit, despite being a guy who talks on TV and podcasts. They're very human. Al's documentaries, they're very sort of warm and fuzzy, get to knowing a certain person who has a very specific passion or very specific talent. And in the case of Robert Brock in Marionette Land, it's marionettes. So you you'd sort of jump in with this marionette theater. It's about to celebrate a big anniversary. Brock is about to do a grown-up drag show that he had done for years, that he hadn't done for a while. He was performing that. And it's just sort of it's a putting on a show movie to a degree. You learn about Brock's life as the film goes along. You see his talent and how it has developed over the years. There's a lot with his relationship with his mother, who's a very sort of fun and occasionally salty character. And Brock is just this fun, whimsical, sassy dude, who loves puppets and loves doing the drag show and is really funny. And this film is just sort of you hanging out in this mostly empty, aside from the two people who work there, puppet theater, and seeing how they weather the storm, so to speak, because it's a theater that maybe wasn't doing incredibly well when the film was shot. And then, like with so many theaters, COVID comes to town. And what does that do to a theater? So I really, really enjoyed this film a lot. And as I was joking, not just because I know the guy who made it, it's really sweet and heartwarming, and you'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll want to watch it again and again. It's really nicely shot. Al has a really great eye. The documentary that he did on the Mahoning is gorgeous to look at on a big screen. Unfortunately for Marionette Land, it didn't really get, I don't know how many theatrical screenings it had, because it landed right in the middle of COVID. So all of its film festival appearances were pretty much virtual film fests. I believe it did win an award. It played at the Omaha Film Festival and several others. And it's a shame that these images weren't able to be seen on the big screen. And it's a shame, at the time at least, this film wasn't able to be experienced by groups of people, because to laugh with a group of people or to, shed a tear with a group of people, all of that is much more powerful than doing it at home. That said, we watched it here on the MVD DVD at home, and it looked gorgeous, and we had a wonderful time, and we couldn't wait to dive into the extras. There is a commentary with Al Monelli and Rob Brock. There are some deleted scenes, 17 minutes, funny enough. And then there are, I think, 2 different Q&As that were done via Zoom for film festivals. So you get to learn a lot more about the history of Rob Brock this way, or it fills in the gaps, so to speak. And, I'm a sucker. I love documentaries. I'm a sucker for commentaries on documentaries and behind the scenes on documentaries, maybe because I have a bit of a production background myself, but I love to know the truth, because ostensibly a documentary is showing you the truth, more or less linearly. But then when you watch the extras, you find out, Well, this was done then, and this was done because of that. And the way we did this was not to say there's any duplicitousness going on, if that's a word. And if it's not, I'm not that smart. But to me, it's fascinating to know the behind-the-scenes stories and how these things are made. So, Marionette Land is a wonderful film if you like documentaries about, quirky, cool people. If you are interested in puppetry at all, it blows me away how someone can manipulate marionettes. It's a puppet on a string, and how they can be made to feel like they're living objects, super marionation, as it were, is always kind of a stunner for me. So, all in all, Marionette Land is kind of it sounds cheesy to say, but it's kind of a beautiful, wonderful little documentary. It's not terribly long. It clocks in somewhere around 80 to 90 minutes. And it's a really fun, funny, interesting time spent with a character that you kind of want to go and meet once this is over. So, Marionette Land, available now on DVD and as a streaming rental from MVD.